Hi guys, Kay Burley was interviewing the current Chancellor of the Exchequer, Nadhim Zahawi, on what Boris Johnson's government has put in place to help people as the price of energy continues to rise. Zahawi began describing the current support in place, the £400 for this and the £1,200 for that. The Chancellor then said that when he took over in July, he compiled his team and they began putting together some options. When he was asked what those options were, you would not believe his reply. Have a listen to this.
Of course, we have to make sure, as Chancellor, as a government, we help those families that need the help, target that help.
Tell me what that looks like.
Well, we're at the moment midway of spending about £37 billion.
Yeah, but it's not enough, Chancellor.
Of course it's not, which is
so
why
what are we going to do?
The moment I walked into the Treasury on the 5th of July, I gathered my leadership team. I said, one, how are we doing on delivering the help? Because it's one thing to announce it, very different to get it into people's accounts. And there was a big focus on that. But equally importantly, I said we need to prepare options for the incoming Prime Minister, because if you think about the help we're putting in...
But bills, tell me what those options look like.
I'm about to take you through. So if you think about what we're putting in now, the most vulnerable 8 million households will get £1,200. Everyone will get £400 off their bill. That really sort of helps with about 50% of this additional increase with the energy price cap going up that's been announced between October and December. I need to begin to think about what happens in January and then in the rest of next year.
When you say begin to think, surely you've already been thinking about it.
Of course. What I meant is we have to deliver for people.
Tell me what it looks like though, Chancellor.
So there's nothing off the table. We're looking...
So first of all, he said, we need to think about it. Think about it. It's already September. And then he corrected himself saying, no, actually what we need to do is we need to deliver. Okay, maybe he misspoke. He actually meant we need to deliver and not think about it. But then in the next breath, he's like, no, all options are on the table. So you don't actually have a plan. You don't actually have a plan for the new Prime Minister. So what have you been doing since July? You took over in July, you said it yourself, you compiled your team. And what have they been doing? Why have they not been preparing for the next Prime Minister? Honestly, what have they been doing? You're talking about now we have to compile a plan. When the next Prime Minister is about to take over in a few days' time, and it's likely to be Liz Truss, but when she takes over, it's going to take a while before she comes up with a plan.
Looking at all the options. Everything from the Chief Executive of Scottish Power talking about help where we need to maybe create some sort of a fund.
So your plan is Scottish Power's plan. You don't have a plan. You don't even have the competence to come up with a plan. You're actually looking at other people and saying, can you provide us a plan instead? You're looking at Scottish Power. Scottish Power was talking about having interest-free loans for the energy companies. They would be compensated in a sense now, and then they would add those costs onto bills over the next 20 or 30 years. Some people have said this is a good idea. Others have said it's a bad idea. But you haven't actually come up with a plan. You're saying, oh, well, let's copy that plan.
For companies to be able to continue to help their customers, all the way through to making sure that we target the help to both households and small and medium-sized businesses, and probably some larger businesses, because one of my concerns is the scarring effect on the economy if perfectly viable businesses in hospitality and leisure...
These companies are already closing. It isn't a scarring effect. It's these companies have closed. They've been waiting for support and they have received nothing. And they've been asking you, what are you going to do? And your response is, we're thinking about it. I took over in July, but I haven't done anything since July. My job is to come up with solutions, and instead what I do is I look around for other people who have come up with other solutions, and I see about copying them as well.
In high energy use businesses would actually suffer or no longer exist because of Putin's use of energy as a weapon. Of course, we have.
Okay, and we go back to blaming Putin here, or talking about. Once again, you have to take responsibility for this. You have the levers of power. You have the ability, the fiscal firepower to deal with this crisis. Provide real support to businesses, real support to individuals. So if the businesses don't go under, people will not lose their jobs. If people don't have to choose between eating and heating their homes, they'll be able to spend money in the economy. You need a massive stimulus plan. If it requires borrowing, then do that. But he doesn't even have a plan. The average person on the street could come up with a better plan than the current Chancellor has, because he has absolutely nothing. And when he's challenged on that, he said, yeah, we're thinking about it. And then say, oh, actually, no, we're not thinking about it. We're going to deliver on it. So he's deliver on what? You have nothing. Absolutely nothing. Now, I don't know if he's going to be the next Chancellor. I don't know who's going to be the next Chancellor. But there's the possibility that he didn't bother to come up with anything because whoever comes in will just scrap it and come up with something else. All Liz Truss has put on the table is eliminating the Green Levy and cutting taxes. And this has been rubbished by every reasonable economist apart from Brexiteer economists. I don't know what else to say. Let me know in the comment section, guys, what you think. As always, your comments are greatly appreciated. Thanks a lot.